Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Nourish to Flourish with yours truly, Megan the Trainer. I'm in the wrong episode. So yes, we are going to be taking a little bit of a pause on our Nourish to Flourishes while we await Megan returning back from giving birth to her second child, Ava. So we're very excited for her. Congratulations, Megan. And please come back soon. So today for this episode of Strong Brew, which I'm enjoying a nice cup here, I want to talk about kettlebell swings. I know some gyms, some trainers, it's like their staple that you have to do kettlebell swings no matter who you are, where you are, how you are. So they're going to assign you these kettlebell swing exercises because, well, guess what? They might be emotionally attached to this exercise. They feel strong when they do this exercise. They feel like they get that cardiovascular workout when they do this exercise. They feel exhilarated when they do this exercise. And all these things can be true. But again, we have to weigh out the risk versus reward when it comes to handing out exercises to clients. Because I'm going to tell you right now, kettlebell swings are not an easy exercise to perform. They look simple. They might look easy because they're so simple. But however, there's a lot of nuances to this exercise that it just might not fit everybody. This might not be a popular thought or popular thing for me to say. But you don't have to do kettlebell swings. I just said it. I'm in trouble. So here's what happens. The kettlebell swing. You set up in a hip hinge. So number one, you have to be able to show that you have competency in the hip hinge movement. So if your like basic deadlifts and your basic hip hinge exercises aren't where they need to be, probably shouldn't be touching a kettlebell swing. Now the other thing too is I see a lot of people, they swing well. So they make that swing pattern happen, that the bell just floats out in front of them, right? But here's where the rubber hits the road, is that deceleration, being able to absorb those forces. You have a long lever arm with that kettlebell out in front of you. And all of a sudden, as that kettlebell is going down with gravity, if I can't maintain the integrity of my posture and position and hold that stability through my core, my body's going to start folding over. And as that kettlebell is coming down with such a tremendous force, that's going to put a lot of stress on my low back. And so we see so many people, they don't get injured on the way up. It's on the way down that they find that injury. One of those exercises that I like to prescribe here at Fitness Line Down that give people their kettlebell swing fix without having to swing the kettlebell are what we call kettlebell high pulls and catches. Pretty fancy name. What you do is you set up in that same hip hinge pattern. So instead of the kettlebell being stacked out in front of you where you have to hike back, you're actually stacked over the kettlebell. And then coming out of that hip hinge, we're going to bring that bell up with our hips, and we keep the bell close to our body. So then we catch it up at top. We bring that kettlebell up through our hips, our arms guiding that kettlebell up as we get that strong catch at the top. And then we release and we guide that kettlebell right back down to where we found it. So what's nice about this is there are some of those qualities of the kettlebell swing. There's the power. There is the cardiovascular aspect that people like from the kettlebell swing. There's the strength. There's all this stuff. There's the awareness of your body in that hip hinge position. But you don't have to fight that lever arm coming back in. Keeping that bell close to your body allows you to stay more in control. And then from there, we could start building into areas where you can go into that kettlebell swing. Because I'll tell you, kettlebell swings, they're a good exercise. They're not a bad exercise. But my question always is, are they the right exercise for you? So being able to understand, like, hey, just because your trainer wants you to do the kettlebell swings, just because your gym lives and dies by the kettlebell swings, if you constantly find yourself being injured by a kettlebell swing, don't do the kettlebell swing. Let's live to train another day. There's so many more options, the high pull and catch. There's so many other hip hinges out there that can satisfy that kettlebell swing itch that you might have. So until next time, now that you know better, go out and do better so we can all be better, something like that. You're welcome.